It might not be for everyone, but there are a lot of reasons why you might actually consider it. You want to receive faster access to elective surgeries. So you want to be able to choose your doctor and get into the private system instead of waiting in the public system. That might take a long time. You want your choice of doctor or hospital, and you want to use extras like dental and physio often because you get rebates and you save money.
The Get Rich Slow Club podcast is a collaboration between Tash Etchman from Tash Invest and Anna Christina from Perla. The Get Rich Slow Club acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land we record on. From coast to coast, across land, waters, and communities, we pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Any advice is general and does not consider your financial situation, needs, or objectives, so consider whether it's appropriate for you.
Welcome to the Get Rich Slow Club podcast,
where we take you from beginner to confident investor,
where we can teach you everything you need to know about investing.
So come get rich slow with us.
Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to ask the big question, do I need private health insurance or private health cover? Today's episode is going to be like the nitty-gritty. What is private health? What does it cover? Why do we need it? And then we're going to do a second episode all about Anna's journey on finding private health and seeing how much it would save her, how to find the best cover, what you're even looking for. But first, money wins, money losses.
Yeah, so it's holidays right now, school holidays, I should specify. And for 2 weeks, your kid's at home. And depending on how you're working in life, it's really hard to kind of juggle that. I'm working part-time, so it makes it a little bit easier to have my 5-year-old at home. There's a lot of holiday programs that are on, so you can kind of send your kid to that. I'm so fortunate that both my partner and I work from home, so we kind of tag team. I usually work like in the morning uninterrupted, and my partner's with our kid working on the side, and then we flip. And I just want to say like how much money that saves us from not having to rely on holiday care. So really, really fortunate. I know that's not the case for a lot of parents who are working, who aren't working from home. So I tried to kind of help out a couple friends by having their kid over while they were working or busy to kind of help out. And today we're actually here. So my partner's at home with the kid by themselves, and we're like, should we put them in holiday care? And my partner like, it's okay. And I had a friend actually say that they'll take our kids. So reach out to your friends if they have kids in holidays. Like they might need some help this time. It's really hard for parents to juggle it all.
It seems very challenging because there's a lot of school holidays and you don't get that much leave when you work a job.
Yeah, because you have like 4 terms, right? So if you have 2 weeks in between each time.
And you've got more in the summer holidays as well.
Yeah. It's like almost 2 months or more.
6 weeks. Yeah,
it blows my mind because I had to learn all that because it's quite different than in Canada, right? Like the school year starts in September. So it's very different, but yeah.
What did you think of, I know it's been backflipped on now and it's a little bit of a detour, but Peter Dutton announced the whole like he wanted to walk back the work from home policies.
Oh my gosh.
And all I was thinking about was just like so many people have built schedules around that where you can do your job if you've got flexibility. But saying people have to go back into the office really hinders people who have small families.
And it also disproportionately affects women, right? At the end of the day, there's a lot of women that unfortunately are doing more of the primary caring, that are doing the pickups and the drop-offs and so forth. And so if they don't have the flexibility of working from home, you're then targeting a specific demographic, which is really hard, right? Like I'm really fortunate in working part-time and working from home, but I could just see so many parents, and I saw so much of it online on social media, especially women, moms who are working from home, who are running, companies from home, who are like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, sorry, I built my life around this now, and I'm still productive and I'm still getting stuff done, but I need the flexibility.
And that's regardless of public or private sector or whatnot, right? Like we should be supporting people to do their best work from the place that they do their best work. Like we saw productivity increase during COVID. Why all of a sudden are we just rolling things back?
Yes. Yeah, needing to go back to the commercial properties and stuff. But anyway, my win, I went to a public pool and I paid $15 for a swim and a spa and it was lovely.
I love public pools. We go all the time.
I forget sometimes that like it's fun and I like want that resort vibe where you like go lay by the pool, but actually you can just go lay by your public pool.
Was it outdoors?
Yes.
Oh, lovely.
So many of Melbourne ones are outdoors.
Yeah, there's a lot out there.
And they had like proper deck chairs and stuff.
Oh, so you had an awesome time. Was it lovely?
Yeah, just went on like in the afternoon. It was great.
You could do it more often? I mean, we're going into winter, but.
Yeah, if it still stays warm, yeah.
Yeah.
One of those things I forget that I enjoy and then I go and I'm like, oh, this is such a vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good win.
Yay.
For sure.
Now into more boring stuff.
Is it boring though?
No, fun, exciting, private healthcare.
So should I pay for private healthcare? I know that this was something that I really wanted to understand because when I came to Australia, private healthcare was something that was discussed. It is not a thing in Canada in the same way that it is here. We have like private healthcare there kind of, but it's usually through your employer because public healthcare is the norm in Canada. So coming here, I really had to learn like what the deal is, how it works, how to navigate it. So we're going to break that all down for anyone who is confused.
So we already have a pretty solid public healthcare system as well called Medicare. It covers things like GP visits, public hospital stays, and some essential treatments. If you're an Australian citizen or permanent resident, you already have access to this. But while Medicare is great, it doesn't actually cover everything, and that's where private health comes in.
So what is private health care insurance? Private health insurance is basically a way to cover medical costs that Medicare doesn't fully cover. So think of private hospital treatments, dental, physio, and extras like optical or chiro. You pay a premium, so a monthly or a yearly fee, and in return, your insurer helps cover certain medical costs.
I only recently found out that Medicare hasn't been around for that long in the grand scheme of history. So I thought I'd do a little quick overview of like the history of private health and where it came from. So before the 1940s, we had no national healthcare system. So you either had to pay out of pocket or it had to be covered by something called the Friendly Societies. I didn't know what these were before either, but these were membership-based kind of aid groups. Or you relied on churches, communities, or charities. Doctors were completely independent and hospitals were often run by religious or charitable organizations.
And they still kind kind
Yes, they're still Catholic hospitals.
Of Australia.
Yep.
Yeah, I was very surprised by this when I gave birth and saw crosses on in the hospitals. I was like, oh, whoa, wild. Didn't know that in the public system. So
yep, they're still around. The legacy lives on.
Yeah.
In 1953, the National Health Act introduced subsidies for private health insurance. So the government was basically encouraging Australians to take out private cover to ease the burden on public hospitals. Around this time, private health insurance became the norm. So people bought it to get access to private hospitals, and insurance were mostly not-for-profit. In 1975, Medibank arrives. So this was Australia's first universal public health insurance scheme, and it was funded through a levy on income, which later became the Medicare levy. There was lots of opposition from doctors and private health industry, which I found really interesting. So doctors initially were protesting against Medicare.
Why is that?
They didn't want the government controlling the cost of their services, was my understanding of it. So they didn't want the government regulating what they could charge.
Yeah. And that's the hard thing, I think, when you're going from something that's privatized to making it public. How do you navigate that is a real big challenge. And we're seeing a lot of kind of things flipping to the other side now, becoming less public and more private, as well as accessibility isn't there. You're seeing, the comparison to what's happening in the States and their medical system. So you can't help but wonder what system's better. Why is it like, how should it work? And what's going to benefit you?
And how much of this is just politics as well? So Labor introduced that initially, and then Liberals got in and they gutted Medibank and introduced Medibank Private. So that was the government-owned private insurer that lets people opt out of it. So public healthcare weakened and private healthcare started to grow again. But then Labor got back in. So in 1984, Labor reinstated the universal public healthcare and named it Medicare. And that covered GP visits, public hospital treatment, and some specialist care. So it took quite a while for Medicare to become what it is today. And there was lots of put it in, take it back, put it in, take it back, because people just couldn't agree.
Yeah.
And when we reflect on it, we're like, wow, Medicare's great, but it took a while to get in.
Yeah, for sure.
Other things were introduced. There was the Medicare levy surcharge, other things that we'll talk about soon. But yeah, it's been a journey to get here where we now have a mix of private health insurance and public Medicare. Private health insurance has been made really confusing. There's so many different policies and terms and different things that apply to you. So we're going to cover some of them now.
Yeah. So one of the first things that you kind of have to understand is, when do you pay for private healthcare or when do you not? So there's a thing called the Medicare levy surcharge. So it's essentially paying extra for not having private health. So if you earn over $93,000 as a single person or $186,000 as a couple or a family, and you don't have private health cover, you'll get hit with the Medicare levy surcharge, also referred to as MLS. This is an extra tax of 1 to 1.5% of your income. So for high earners, private health insurance might actually save you some money in tax.
This is what I think people find a bit confusing. So there's the Medicare levy and there's the Medicare levy surcharge. So we just talked about the Medicare levy surcharge for high income earners, but the Medicare levy is a 2% tax that most Australians pay to help fund the public healthcare system. So it applies to almost everyone. So Medicare levy, 2% for most people. Medicare levy surcharge, between an extra 1 to 1.5% if you earn a high income and don't have private health.
Yeah, it's confusing because the names are so similar as well, and the percentages seem similar as well, right? So is there a math equation that makes it worth it to pay the levy and surcharge? Well, yes, there's a simple math solution that helps determine if paying for private health insurance is financially worth it. So let's say you earn $100K per year. And if you don't have private health cover, you'll pay the Medicare levy surcharge of 1% on your income. So that's $1,000 in tax. If your private hospital cover costs, let's say $1,200 per year, the difference is only $200 more than the surcharge. But if you shop around and find a basic policy for about $900 per year, you actually save $100 compared to that tax. So this means if you're close to or above the MLS threshold, you should at least check if you can find a policy that costs less than the tax, because you'll get some private health benefits instead of just paying the extra tax.
But there is a catch as well. So if you're in Australia and you don't take out private health cover before July 1st, after your 31st birthday, you'll start paying something called a lifetime health cover, or an LHC loading. This adds 2% to your premium for every year you delay, up to a maximum of 70%. So for example, if you wait until 40 to get private health insurance, you'll pay 20% more than someone who signed up at 30. This is also something to consider earlier rather than later.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now it feels a little bit dodgy, but
yeah. Well, I think the thing also is as you get older, chances are you might need more support when it comes to your health, right? You might need more doctors or appointments. So they're trying to kind of mitigate the risk of people who are older in age, who might need more doctors and support, who might cost the system more money.
But you pay more when you're older. Your premiums are higher.
Yes.
I can see it in terms of like encouraging preventative healthcare and stuff like that. But I think a lot of people just aren't aware. Like we don't really talk about the lifetime health cover loading just as a general thing. You don't hear it spoken about on the news. Like if you just don't know, it feels unfair.
Yeah. Surprise.
Yay,
you didn't get covered. You're 35 and you missed out on 5 years.
But maybe
4 years. Yeah.
you save money and the 2% doesn't actually end up costing you that much. I don't know.
Yes.
Complex maths.
I did the math on this a while ago. We'll talk about it in another episode.
Next time.
This is definitely went down the rabbit hole a long time ago around whether it was worth paying for this. So let's just talk about the different types of private health insurance. There's hospital cover. So this helps pay for private hospital stays. So if you have surgery or treatments that Medicare doesn't fully cover, it also kind of helps you find the doctor that you want to help with your surgery as well. So you don't have to go through the public system in this. There's extra cover. So this covers non-hospital versus services like dental, physio, chiro, optical, and even remedial massage.
It covers some of it, not all of it. There's often an excess to pay as well.
This is true. Yes.
Because I find with my private health insurance, I can get my glasses completely covered sometimes and like one free checkup completely covered. But then remedial massage, I only get like $20 back each time.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. Yeah. And ambulance cover is the other one. So in most states, you have to pay for an ambulance ride, and some people get ambulance only cover to avoid the surprise bill, but you can also get that covered sometimes when you're paying for private health insurance.
There's also these fun things called waiting periods, which are annoying but important to take note of. So when you take out private health insurance, you can't just claim big expenses straight away. Most policies have waiting periods, and these can range from 2 months to 12 months for things like pregnancy, major dental work, or pre-existing conditions. So don't wait until you need the surgery or the treatment before you sign up.
Yeah. So when should you consider private health insurance? Now, it might not be for everyone, but there are a lot of reasons why you might actually consider it. So some of them is that you earn over the MLS income threshold that we talked about because you want to avoid the extra tax. You want to receive faster access to elective surgeries. So you want to be able to choose your doctor and get into the private system instead of waiting in the public system. That might take a long time. You want your choice of doctor or hospital, and you want to use extras like dental and physio often because you get rebates and you save money. And the last one is you're approaching 31 years of age and you want to avoid the lifetime health cover loading.
I have private health insurance, and one of the big benefits for me is I find I want to make the most of it, especially my extras. So I want to go to the dentist twice a year. I want to go and get new glasses. I want to go and get my eyes checked. I go to the physio and don't like triple guess it and be like, oh, can I afford it this month? So I think it's good from like a preventative point of view to not have to worry about the cost as much because you're kind of paying it up front and then claiming it back later. So that's definitely a perk for me.
Yeah, we have coverage for our family as well for a lot of those reasons. A big one is also just income was the first reason why I looked into it. So when I moved here when I became a permanent resident, one of the stipulations was I had to have private healthcare. So that's kind of what got me into the whole looking into private healthcare, and then obviously my age. But you can also get specific coverage that is important to you to look into. So that's why it's really important to look into the insurances because it's not a one size fits all situation, right?
So is it worth it? If you're young, healthy, and earning under the Medicare levy surcharge threshold, private health insurance might not be worth it right now. But if you're a higher income earner, you need elective surgery, or you make use of extras, it might be a smart investment. Like all financial decisions, though, it comes down to your personal situation and what coverage you actually need. So yes, it depends. The final answer, it always depends, but definitely worth looking into it.
Absolutely.
It's a nice thing to have there just in case.
That's all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for joining us. If you found this episode helpful, please rate us 5 stars, write a review, or share with a friend. If you're new to investing, make sure to listen to our first 10 episodes. Follow us at Get Rich Slow Club or Tash at Tash Invests or me at Anna Christina.
This show was brought to you by Natasha Etchman, who is an authorized representative 1299881 of Guideway Financial Services, AFSL 420367, and Perla, who is an authorized representative 1281540 of Sanlam Private Wealth, AFSL 337927. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to investing. So make sure you check out our financial services guides and read the product disclosure statement and target market determination for any investments you're considering. See our show notes for more info.